Thanks very much, Ann, but you actually kind of intimidated me when you said this is the second most important office in the state of Oregon. You're like, kind of, okay, can we do it? And I think we can. This region has a history of coming together and working together on some of the most important issues that this state and this country face. Whether we're talking about how do we preserve and protect farm and forest land, whether we're talking about how do we make our economy start moving again, or whether you're talking about how do we deal with issues, the modern issues of climate change. At Metro, I've been privileged to be able to work on all these issues and more. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the kind of work I've done at Metro. But first, I should probably back up and say how I got there. And I'm not going to tell a story about the birds and the bees. That was a joke for you, sir. I'm going to talk about, I moved here in 1980 with my wife from Seattle, which was going through another recession at that time. If you recall, when Boeing was shutting down, and she was a school teacher. And every school teacher every year in springtime at that time was getting a pink slip. And the question is, can we stay in Seattle, the town we loved, or not? And we couldn't because of the job market. We came to Portland when she got a job in Portland Public Schools. I struggled trying to find work here. My first job, though, was with a great company, a small startup company that was the first home recycling collection service in Portland and maybe in this country and in this state. It was a new idea about how can you improve the services we provide to the public, and by providing home recycling collection. Today, of course, we take it for granted that there's those, I guess they're blue buckets and red buckets and yellow buckets in front of your house, and you can put it out there every Tuesday with your neighbors. Then after a few years of that, helping build that small company, I went back to school and got my teaching certificate and taught high school science. And during that time, I volunteered to help with my son's schools. We actually started a new middle school in inner city Portland, public middle school, to deal with some of the issues and use the educational opportunities of the city. Emmanuel Hospital was right next door. The kids did volunteer work there. My role as a parent volunteer was actually to help buy and refurbish a building so it could have a home for that school. During that time, after I taught for a while, I started an organization called the Bicycle Transportation Alliance. It was just a club. We just a bunch of people coming together to say, how can we make our neighborhood, our community, a better place to live? It eventually became something that took off. We had memberships, so people actually said, we want to be part of this as well. And I ended up being the policy director there for 8 years, working on making all of our communities safer places for kids to walk and bike, and for people like me who like to ride my bike still, be able to ride our bicycles. And going from a time where you had very few people who would be brave enough to ride on the streets, today we have tens of thousands of people who feel comfortable riding the bikes, which means there's less cars on the road, less air pollution, and our cities are quieter and safer places. Coming to Metro, there's 3 key areas I worked in. One is transportation. You know, I got the bug working on bicycle issues, learning about all the layers of government that works on transportation. And that was the miracle of Metro, is that Metro is one place where everybody comes together and works on these key issues. And we say, can we do a better job working together than we could separately? Which is why Metro was created in the first place, was to really to pull this region together so we work together. I headed the Joint Policy Committee on Transportation for 4.5 of the years I've been at Metro, and helping rewrite our transportation strategy so that we're investing in outcomes like economic development and improving the environment and protecting our neighborhoods by providing people with choices and making smart decisions about where we spend our money. I've also worked very hard to help protect the green of the region that we all love. There's a couple parts of that, and that's why I use the word green. The green is the park and forest lands that we love. I helped pass the largest bond measure in Oregon's history that is buying land for long-term protection. And one of the special things about that bond measure, that was $227 million, $44 million went directly to local parks providers so they could deal with their own issues. Again, it's raising the whole, everyone's boat by working together, and that's one of the best things about Metro. I've also worked hard to keep the urban growth boundary tight during the discussions in 2002, 2004, and last year, because it's about how do we use what we have better. And so investment strategies that I helped start at Metro, like our transit-oriented development program and the construction excise tax that we adopted with the help of all the cities in the region to pay for planning that's necessary, that local governments are having trouble financing. That's how we get better development inside the urban growth boundary so we don't have to expand the urban growth boundary. Finally, the issue of climate change. I've been the lead counselor at Metro working on this very important issue, and 2 months ago I came in front of this group with Kate Willis from Nike to talk about a strategy that we are working on together with the business community, with the universities, with the governments, with nonprofit groups, about how do we take a crisis, which is climate change, and turn it into an opportunity. And that opportunity is, if we're going to save energy, reduce our energy consumption, find new sources of energy, those are business opportunities. And so we have identified so far 350 companies in the region that work in some way in that way. They're green architects, they're home energy conservation specialists. They're people writing software to manage our buildings' HVAC systems so they use less energy. All those reduce our carbon footprint, reduce how much money we spend on energy, which in this state is $8.5 billion a year that we spend on energy, and most of it is shipped out of this region to the coal states or to Venezuela or Saudi Arabia. Saving that money is money in our pockets and makes us more prosperous. That project, it's called Climate Prosperity, is rolling out very soon, and to me, I'm very excited about that. And that's why I bring to you, and I'm going to finish this part of the presentation by saying, I bring to you the kind of leadership this region needs. Someone who is innovative, who is aggressive in taking on new ideas and making sure that they come to fruition, that we get things done at Metro. We are not a debate society at Metro. We are a place, we are the table where this region comes together. The elected officials, the community leaders come together and say, how do we take advantage of the opportunities that we have in front of us? How do we combat those challenges and those problems that we have as a region? And how do we do it together so that we all benefit and that this region is a better place? And I think I am your candidate that can move this region forward on the issues of the economy, on protecting the environment, and making sure that everyone prospers in this region. Thank you very much. I'd be honored to have your votes and your support.